Welcome back to the Den of Sin. Unfortunately for you, I'm your host, Chandler Allen Berry, and with me is my very capable and confident friend, Slug. Say hello.
What's up, fools?
So, we saw a little-known movie. I don't know, I haven't seen any posters or trailers for it, but Scream 6. Scream 6. We saw this movie, and before we talk about the movie, I think it's very important that we talk about the events leading up to it, because we had a trip. And from start to finish, it's important that we talk about the trip because the trip was capped off with the movie. And in fact, all of yesterday was really just a diversion waiting to get to the movie. So we're probably going to post pictures and showcase all the fun and cool stuff that we did, including drinking at dive bars. You'll see all of that on our Instagram page. But we went to Savannah, stayed in Tybee, and went to and fro. You want to talk about the trip real quick? How it went for you? Oh, the driving.
I had a lot of driving.
Yeah. See, I have a 2-day-old Budweiser, and I was unable to carry this burden for you. I'm sorry. I'm still drinking it 3 days later. Yeah. The trip itself in the City of the Dead, splendid. We had, minus the parking, minus the driving. Speaking of which,
Parking.
let's not talk about the parking itself. It's god awful. Cities suck. Sherman should have burned Savannah to the ground. And I think that guy is a war criminal. But maybe he was on to something with this place.
He was a hero.
Personally, it's a beautiful city. It's one of my favorite next to Charleston, and I would say New Orleans if it wasn't for the fact it was like 90% slums on the outside. No offense to people who live there, but we're there for the historic district. We're there for ghost stories. We're there for the beautiful architecture and the Spanish moss, and the culture. That's what we're there for. But what we got was apparently Savannah is the party capital of the world. Did you know this?
It's a week before St. Patrick's Day, and it's already a frat house out in the streets. It's worse than Athens.
I thought Athens was bad, but at least you can walk around Athens. If you don't want to deal with people, you can just go a different direction. It's no matter where you go, every alleyway, every street, it's like Mardi Gras. Which, yeah, for Savannah, St. Patrick's Day is Mardi Gras, but it's a week before.
Yeah.
And people are flying Irish flags. There's definitely worse flags they can fly, but it's a week early, and you should probably, hold off on a bit because we're not there for that. We're there to just go on a tour and look at the city.
We're history buffs, so.
Also, we stopped by. Do you remember the name of the record store?
Gray Faces and Other Oddities.
Shout out to them. What a very cool place and idea.
Yeah. I got Merciful Fate's demo, EP, whatever you want to call it, on vinyl, and I had Venom's Live at Hammersmith on vinyl.
2 phenomenal picks. We were there not even an hour, I don't think. There was a creature from the Black Lagoon pinball machine that kicked my ass in the back room.
And I missed it.
You didn't even, I told you. You're over there chatting it up with the guy behind the counter. Awesome guy. He looks like the anime man. But yeah, he was very knowledgeable, and you guys hit it off very well. I'm over there in the back getting pounded by some creature from the Black Lagoon. There's all these cool oddities. And what a great mixture, as an idea to have records and curiosities all in the same place.
We're totally posting the picture of you with Chris Chen's Sonic Shield.
No, it's not confirmed.
He said it was his.
People say a lot of things. I didn't see paperwork.
The man came in with a signed one and another one.
Do you know who can get it verified?
We're not going to go visit him in prison.
No. We're not going to visit Chris Chan in prison. We're going to go see Rick Harrison in Las Vegas. Can you imagine walking up into their pod shop?
Oh my God.
Do you think they would put that on the show?
Oh my God. Dude. There's no way. There's no way.
Wait, you know the best part? Rick Harrison would have not a shred of a clue who Chris Chan is, and then Chub Lee comes walking from the back room.
No way, bros. Ain't no way.
I held, possibly, it's not confirmed, I don't have the paperwork, but it's probably Chris Chan's personal Sonichu clay necklace.
I had to disinfect my hand after I touched it.
The guy behind the counter forced me to. I'm like Pearl after she got her flipper touched by that cute boy.
He wasn't. He was a smelly man. You don't remember that? Like, that was his
He was
thing. He was a
hot.
beach bum. No.
I saw what Pearl saw in him.
Oh, my God.
Us stinky men.
You filthy animal.
I don't know. I think she saw something in him, and I really related to it. But just like her, I don't want to wash my hand. I touched something that Chris Chan made with his own hands. Her. I don't want gender politics on the show. So after that, we went on a great ghost tour with a lovely person named Kyle. Awesome tour guide. We went with Grave Tales Tours. Very good. We went to see the Pink House. We went to see the Marshall House and other such haunted locations.
I love how you told me every story that they told us before we went on the ghost tour.
If you do 5 ghost tours in the same city, you're probably going to know what all the stories are. The only one I didn't tell you was about the Foley chick and killing the suitor and stuffing him behind the wall with the help of
The carpenter.
Yeah, her mystery man.
Oh, no, he was a bricklayer.
Bricklayer, yeah. And bricks he did lay. 3
layers.
3 layers of bricks and hit his body. But we're not here to discuss Savannah history. We're just, trying to hit the bases here. All in all, great night. Trying to end it off with going to a bar. But we acted on misinformation and went to a bar that closed 20 minutes after we got there. It was supposed to close at 3. We were there at 1:10, and instead we had to go back to the room and defeat and shame and play Roblox Uno. Damn, do we have a good time doing it.
You got to 100 wins. Congratulations.
Yeah, you got a badge for it.
Mm-hmm.
Something for a little more. But alas, there was no cash prize at the end. Then we got up, and the whole day was just us thinking about the movie. And, we ate at a place called Fanny's. Great food. We're going to give them a shout out too because we gave them money. So we might as well. What do we do after Fanny's?
To a coffee shop. Oh, we went to the fort.
The Fort Pulaski.
Yeah.
Fort Pulaski. Willow's first fort that she'd ever been to. You been to a fort before? Personally, it's a favorite pastime of mine. I don't know. They just make me happy being in forts and historical places like battlefields, and that's why I love Savannah so much. But we gotta go to Charleston sometime. We get a real kick out of Fort Sumter if you like Fort Pulaski.
I like the underground part of it.
Oh, it's like the Paris catacombs.
Yeah.
Man, we legitimately got lost down there. I thought I was about to start hearing stuff down there, and the lights were going to go off. But you know what?
We made it.
Not just did we survive, I think you got a new venue to play at. Some of those rooms down there where they used to keep all the cannonballs and ammunition. Yeah, that would have made a great venue down there. All those dungeon-looking rooms. Good time. After that, we hit the road.
We hit a coffee shop called Coffee Box.
Oh, that's right. That's when it started raining.
Yeah.
And just like the city, the mood dampened after it started raining. And I think that's when it hit that, oh, yeah, we're on a time crunch. We can go to all these great bars. We can go to these great restaurants and, see the town. But we really got to get going. Just like the story I'm telling right now. So we got on the road, and finally at 10:45, when the movie started, we were still not there. It was at the Mall of Georgia, and boy, did we book it! We had to drop off Slug's dog Milo and just book it as fast as we could. Did we speed? Maybe. I'm not confirming that we did speed, but I'm going to say we took any and all necessary measures to make sure we saw this film. So, guys. No, we did not see all of Scream 6. We walked in the movie probably after the opening panning shot. most likely. So we missed a minute, but I think we are all in the right to talk about it and discuss it. You think so?
Oh my god, yes.
Let's discuss Scream 6 and why it's probably the best sequel. Hell, I think it's the best Scream movie since the first.
It's so hard to choose, man. I don't know why I just love 2 so much, but damn it, this one. This is a perfect sequel. This is a perfect Scream sequel.
I made up my mind it was probably the best sequel immediately.
I think that's the perfect reason why I think my mind is more blown than yours, because I went in it with the expectations that it's going to be pretty good. Not a perfect Scream sequel.
The writing was better. The directing was better. Hell, the acting was better. We talked about Sam Carpenter from the last movie. Now, a fully fledged great character. Hell, I didn't even give a shit about Chad in the other movie. He's the MVP all-star of this movie.
Yeah, he really stepped up, not just as a character, but for Tara as well.
Just every scene was in. Everything he said. Just a lovable guy. And as you pointed out, he's the new Dewey. He's the new lovable Oath character that can't die.
Yeah, he won't die. It's not that he can't die, he won't die.
He refuses. He refuses because
he's got plot armor. Dewey had plot armor till
the writers decided that he didn't.
Yeah.
Chad, phenomenal character. I'm so glad I care now because that made the scene toward the end more impactful.
Wes Craven gave him plot armor because when he dies in is not by Wes Craven.
Speaking of exactly.
Oh yeah, course correction from my dad.
Who watches the show? We're sitting with him, just shooting the shit, talking or whatever about records and music and whatnot, and his extensive history with different bands and people that he's seen. And then out of nowhere, completely irrelevant to what we're talking about, he just like, oh yeah, you guys were talking about Wes Craven on one of the earlier episodes and neglected to mention his first foray into cinema outside of pornography, The Last House on the Left. It's not that I forgot it. It's just, you and me talking. It's like we know a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. It doesn't feel like it needs to be said. But sometimes we forget there's an audience. So if you really want to dig back into Wes Craven's past, Last House on the Left is his first film. So definitely go check it out. It's a good time. If you like I Spit on Your Grave, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. Now,
the chick was forced to piss herself.
Apparently, your dad's mom did not like that scene all too much for some reason.
Yeah.
So, did she boycott snuff?
Yep.
It's probably like a picket gang.
Yeah, my grandma.
Yeah, I don't know why I worded it like that. Not just I say your dad's mom, I worded it mum too.
Yeah.
Weird.
The British, they don't exist.
What? British?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Unless you're
just making words up. Making words up. But yeah, he pointed it out. So
here we are, Dad. We're talking about the movie.
Also, if we're gonna do discourse correction right now, I should also point out that for all the times we mentioned the moon in the last episode, it never occurred to me to mention the fact that I said that the Earth and the moon are 237 miles apart. That was a damn lie. That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say 237,000 because conspiracy nuts who think Kubrick faked the moon landing, they think that's how far it is, and that's why the room number is 237. When in actuality, it's like it's almost closer to the 329,000. So it's weird that we mentioned the moon twice, and I just completely forgot to correct myself. So there we go again, correcting ourselves for multiple episodes ago. But back to Scream.
It's so good.
Let's just start with the opening, because what a great subversion.
Oh my god! Flash Thompson dies.
Not just does Flash Thompson die, he's a killer, a wannabe killer.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to be pretty good at it, surprisingly.
Yeah, imagine it's not your choice. Somebody else just tells you you're not good enough to be a killer. You're done.
step in and be like, "We'll take it from here,"
Yeah, well,
but then sticks you with a blade.
yeah. You're not only are you done being a killer, you're done.
Just period.
Yeah.
you're done living.
Yeah.
We didn't even see Greg. We saw Greg's head,
It's
almost
his
like
body parts.
yeah, like Friday the 13th Part 2 style, crammed into the refrigerator. Also, they were watching. The biggest smile came on my face when I saw this, and that smile did not dissipate for the entire runtime of the film. Jason Takes Manhattan was on TV, and it's the first Scream movie to be outside, really be outside Woodsboro, like really outside Woodsboro,
Yeah.
and in New York no less. So to pay homage, it's just, and also right outside the apartment was, I guess it was like the name of the apartment complex or whatever. It said Elm Court.
That's good.
Yeah, just little nuggets here and there, little references. They keep it going.
Like the subway scene.
Oh, Pinhead,
Babadook.
Babadook. There was almost too many.
Michael.
David Bowie.
Yeah. Ziggy Stardust.
Excuse me. Wow. Ziggy Stardust was in there. There's a bunch of references. I'm trying to think of some others. I can't quite. It's not important. If you really want to get in the references and Easter eggs, I think the best part is to talk about the shrine scene because there's a shit ton. But as I like to say, we'll get there. So we're gonna move on from the.
Means we're not.
Oh yeah, like how I kept making allusions in the last episode to creepy JPEGs and just wait, guys, we're gonna get to this, and then proceed to not talk about it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
We may or may not talk about this episode. No promises. We'll see what happens. We're already 17 minutes in to the recording. So we'll see where it goes. We want to talk about creepypastas and do a creepypasta workshop, but I need to stop saying we're going to do this in this episode.
We're not going to tell them what we're doing next week, but I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very excited because I have a soft spot for this franchise that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. No spoilers.
Hello, little one.
We like to spoil other things, but our own show? Nah, we'll keep them in suspense. And
not like last week.
No, of creepy JPEGs.
Yeah, we just completely just tell them what we're going to be doing.
Yeah,
it's going to be the exact opposite this week.
I'm going to learn my lesson and stop telling people where this ship is headed.
It's definitely not. I might have talked about it previously, saying how much I really like it. I think I mentioned that I really was pushing for him to be on the slasher tier list, but yeah, but he didn't qualify for particular reasons.
We're gonna need conspiracists to go back and re-review all of our episodes in great detail.
Literally anything, please comment.
Go back and watch our entire show multiple times to catch what Slug is possibly referencing.
Look, man, there's 147 of you that viewed a total of in all of our episodes. At least one of you can comment.
Ain't that such a Scream thing though?
Yes.
To reference, like, get real deep in the meta commentary. We're running a podcast talking about the number of people watching it or listening to it.
This is gonna really date it. After this,
when we blow up. Oh,
when we tank,
we have different visions for where this podcast is going. Clearly. So yeah, after the opening scene, which again I'm gonna harp on it, because it's so hard with the series that's so formulaic. How many times can you do the same scene over and over and over again with the opening kill and make it unique? This is my favorite opening, and I mean this, in the entire series, even the first one. This is my favorite.
That's very fair, but I do disagree.
Perfectly fine. Do you have a favorite opening scene?
The first one.
It's classic. It's unforgettable. And again, we came right out of the theater, so again, yeah, I might be a little, leaning into how much I love Scream 6.
I'm already gushing. The money shots are already all over the table. I just love this movie so much. I don't know how I can keep up the energy.
You've exhausted yourself already. Also, it should be noted that we've going back to the trip. I did you get good sleep?
Eh.
Here and there. I know the driving was miserable for you, and just mentioning that gives you PTSD. I was up even before the trip for like
You were in a span of 48 hours. You got 3 hours of sleep.
I'm kicking. I have a few neurons going off in my brain telling me what to say and do, but it's all autopilot from here, buddy. So yeah, my favorite opening scene of the series might change when I actually get some sleep and wake up and then realize what the hell was I thinking. But I don't think my other thoughts are going to change. It's perfect, as you were saying. Even the opening scene was just brilliantly written. The subversion of the follow a Ghostface killer around like a normal guy talking to people and interacting is the complete opposite. Imagine a Scream movie where the killer is the protagonist.
7.
Yeah, Slug here asked me.
We'll save it. We'll save it after the reveal, the full
Yeah,
reveal,
because
and yeah.
it's a bit of a tangent.
Mhm.
Where do you want to go from the opening? You got any more thoughts on it?
I don't like how Tara just immediately was like, "Who?" Even though they had dialogue together, like they were actually friends from class.
Right.
That was a bit weird. Like it doesn't take me out of it, and it doesn't really affect the plot. It's just kind of interesting,
Right.
a little bit.
Now, I saw some reviewers really criticize the party scene directly after. Said it dragged on too long.
There's not a goddamn thing in this movie that drags.
No, every scene.
Not even a body.
No, no. Every scene is just so perfect and fills out the time it needs to tell the story it's telling. The party scene develops characters more so than 5 did in its entire runtime. Like these just felt like people.
Yeah.
And it shows their dynamic, their relationships to one another. It was beautiful. I thought it was greatly written, and I don't know what these critics are talking about as far as it dragging on.
Gay Rape Frankie was funny.
It's weird that Tara was willing to go with them, but the whole point of that was to show how much Sam really cares about her sister, and Tara finally realizing that maybe I can't make all the decisions on my own.
Yeah.
That maybe I don't have it all figured out, and that I need my big sister to step in every once in a while and protect me. I thought that was neat. It was nice.
Well, it was actually Chad.
Well, he did too, but Sam being there and tasing him in the balls is what I'm trying to get at. Chad too. It reinforces the fact this is a tight knit group. The core four.
The core four.
What a wholesome scene that was.
The juxtaposition of Ronnie.
That was Donnie.
You're gonna call him Donnie. I'm gonna call him Ronnie. Okay.
What is this? Fucking Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, or Leonard Skinner.
Oh shit, man.
Ronnie, Donnie, and
oh yeah. Sorry, when we were talking about albums earlier, you told your albums, and I didn't say mine. I still have Led Zeppelin on the brain because that's one of the I got album 4, which is one of the essentials. Everyone has to have it. So I guess I'm still thinking Led Zeppelin.
no slacking there.
Yeah, and that 48 hours of time where I didn't sleep is really getting to me.
Ronnie was screaming at Quinn to look behind her as Ghostface was walking behind her. It's kind of like for the bedroom murder. Yeah.
Weird in retrospect.
Which one?
The bedroom scene with Ghostface standing behind Quinn, because Quinn is revealed to be part of that group.
Right.
They're a family.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Ghostface appeared in the room. I guess he needed a witness from the other room, not just from the core 4, as they're dubbed.
Right.
I guess he needed another witness to verify that Quinn died. So I guess that was the point of that. And I knew I thought anytime we've seen these movies way too many times. Hell, we could be Ghostface Killers.
We predicted it. Like on the ride home, it was like a 3.5 hour drive from Savannah to my parents' house, and to kill time, we were like, "All right, Chandler, what's the plot? What's going on?" And we nailed it
perfectly.
We nailed it. Spoiler alert.
We've watched these
Richie's
movies.
dad.
Yeah, Richie's dad, brother, and sister definitely outdid the second movie where it's just the mother.
Yeah, we didn't say who was working with them. We were like the main guy. Okay, so in 5 they called it a requel. It's like a reboot,
Mm-hmm.
a reboot, but not quite a reboot. And they follow all the same patterns of the first movie. So then I'm like, okay, so the second movie, it's going to be somebody relating to Richie, because nobody gives a shit about Amber.
We don't give a shit about Richie, but he was still better than her.
Yeah. So Billy's mom is a killer too, and we're like, so they're gonna be doing something different, but they're gonna be doing the same exact thing. So it's gonna be his dad. And we were right.
We both came to the same conclusion. The only thing I really contributed was the
changing it from mom to dad.
Mom to dad, and the fact it was Detective Bailey the whole time, because it made sense to me that it would be the detective. And I say this over and over again, but we're
just that good.
We're great.
We're just that good.
No, it's just these movies are no, we actually suck. But the movies are formulaic.
You were bragging about your script writing ability.
You were.
No, not me. I said you are.
I was bragging about my script writing?
Yeah, you're like, because when you understand script writing, you can kind of point the holes out and see what's obvious. It's easy.
What's that bragging?
Easy.
It's not
you
bragging.
You describe script writing as easy.
Okay.
Dude, I can't do it to save my life.
Okay, let me rephrase. Script writing is an incredibly difficult, time-consuming process that people need to devote time to, and not everyone can just sit down and do it immediately. That's not what I'm doing, because it's clearly taken me a long time to do it. All I'm saying is, when you watch enough movies and you do enough writing and you know how story structure works, in particular with this franchise, you know what's going to happen. They almost, even when they subvert expectations, they still follow the same pattern. It was always going to be Detective Bailey. It was, and going off what you were saying, being a requel sequel, just do what the second movie did, but bigger and better, and flopping it.
I love the quote when Kirby's like, "Yeah, what's the problem? Why does it have to be in the open? Like, what's the problem with them walking down?" So we'll get to that point, but I'm just trying to express to him, my host here, one of my favorite quotes. We'll get to it when we get to it. But when Kirby was like, "Yeah, what's the problem?" And he's like, and Mindy and Chad are in the van, and they're like, "Yeah, our uncle died in broad daylight because he got stabbed in broad daylight and pulled into a van." And then, shut up, Kirby.
God, like,
that was so good.
Oh,
my uncle.
I love how they keep breaking up characters like Randy, because just like with Jigsaw, it's like once a great character dies, they need to fill in the gap, the void that they leave behind. And Randy's is always felt, even when you have characters like Kirby to fill it, and Mindy, who they hit it off in this movie. You get some dialogue exchanged. So it's like the two Randy types together. It's like his presence is always felt, and to have, you call it fan service all you want, especially with the shrine scene, it's all servicing the plot. So even when they mention legacy characters like Randy, it doesn't feel like shoehorned in. It feels natural, and like Mindy being a big fan of her uncle.
So, while we're on the display, was that Charlie's display?
Where?
That Kirby was looking at?
Oh, yeah. That's why she had a reaction to it.
What kind of reaction do you think it was?
Ooh, why?
what kind of reaction do you think it is?
Truthfully,
Truthfully.
when I brought up parking in Savannah, the look you gave me was the same look she gave that assortment of items. It brought up a deep rooted trauma inside of her. Anger, sadness, all came spilling out of her eyes all at once. You can see it on her face. The same look on her face was the same one on yours anytime I bring up Savannah parking. That's my answer to you.
I think she truly did care about Charlie, and there's a pain of betrayal, but she still loves him.
A
little bit.
I don't know. When someone stabs you, I think you stop giving a shit.
Well, there are a lot of people who get worse than stabbing and still love them.
Stockholm, man. It's a powerful force. I don't know. Maybe that's a pretty good read on it. It's just
still has feelings, but the feeling of betrayal definitely overweights it, so it doesn't.
How long do they really know each other?
They went to high school together. They were a senior.
Yeah.
And it was implied in 4 that it's an ongoing back and forth flirting.
I'm really trying to downplay the betrayal aspect of it. I don't know why. Because there was a love there. They had a connection.
Charlie did like her a lot.
Yeah.
To the point where he didn't need to say, he didn't even say anything crass, he'd been blue balling me for this whole time. It's no, you were teasing me and you kept leading me on. When you know how I feel about you, I mean, I don't think that's a reason to kill her, but
no, but the fact that he felt teased,
yeah,
about it, even though she was very open and willing. In fact, that night Kirby was opening herself up to him. That night, something was going to happen. Just the thing that happened wasn't exactly what she thought was going to happen, but
right.
That night was the night she was willing to get physical with him and confess her love. It just, unfortunately for her, that was the night Charlie decided he didn't give a shit.
Late.
Yeah, that didn't matter anymore. All the time spent together.
I fucking love Charlie.
I fucking love Kirby. She's an awesome character.
I do like Kirby as well.
She kind of reminded me of Tiffany from Child's Play in this movie, just rocking the blonde bob and the leather jacket. Mm-hmm. She's just cool. She's a cool character because she still has Randy vibes as far as her encyclopedic knowledge of horror movies, but she's a badass now. Probably my favorite quote in the movie, and it's not like a crazy quote or anything, but the whole how did it go? I was scared of the monsters, but now I want the monsters scared of me. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I love that.
I never wanted to be scared again, so I make the monsters scared of me.
That's awesome. That. It's empowering, I think. It goes back to
Tara.
Yeah, and also what we were saying was the last episode about how not wanting to become the monsters you're afraid of. Instead, with this, it's don't let the monsters be afraid of you.
I'm not going to be an airplane, Chandler.
Don't be an airplane, and definitely, for the love of God, don't be a scarecrow. But I do know what I'm dressing up for Halloween. I'm sorry.
I've just come in with a life-size Bruce. Dude, I'd kick open your door and I just put Bruce in your room.
Dude, that's a real fear I have, by the way. And it's funny you bring that up. Thank you. Because a miniature discourse correction, when I say that I saw Megan, and I'm like, robots aren't scary, animatronics aren't scary. When I have said on record that Jaws, the animatronic shark, is scarier, Bruce is scarier than any real, tangible shark in the ocean right now.
Yeah, well, there's a shark at the beach.
Yeah. While we were at Savannah.
Yeah.
Was it Tybee? Tybee. Yeah. It's just funny that I said it out loud that I'm not scared of animatronics. But if you put a Bruce head in my room, I can't tell you what I'll do. I'll burn the entire apartment to the ground.
Get the gun.
I'll get the gun.
We're an animatronic shark.
I'll shoot that bitch.
Power to run.
No, I'm not scared of it moving. I'm just scared of it. Like in general, I'm just looking at it. I'm scared of it. Just like with the pictures of ants on my phone. If I see a picture of an ant, I'm chucking that bitch out the window. But with Scream, Kirby, glad she's back. Is she my favorite character? No. But God, her presence was missed, and I'm glad she's a reoccurring character now. Just her being a FBI agent too is like
Wild. Maybe this gets her like kind of reinstated.
Oh, she's here to stay. She's here to stay.
In terms of the FBI arc.
Oh, that's what I thought you meant as a character.
How she was described as slipping. Or maybe that was just a ploy by the detective to manipulate Sam and Tara.
I do believe that after the events of 5, she had like a mental relapse.
It's understandable.
Yeah, like the trauma flooded her again. Like, oh, this is happening again, and I've devoted the last decade of my life to hunting people like this. It makes total sense that she would be like, almost like, I mean, not like it at all, but to make a comparison, Sally Hardesty in the last Texas Chainsaw movie.
Don't get me started.
I know. I'm sorry.
The movie,
I'm
man.
sorry, but just how she devotes her whole life to this one thing, and she becomes a super hardened badass, which is not her character. At least Kirby was cool.
At all.
At least Kirby was cool to begin with. So
Yeah.
her transition to being an FBI agent is more believable. Sure, why not? She's cool anyways. This just makes her cooler.
It's more believable that Stretch became a badass and is in the Chicken Sharknado than Sally becoming. Tell me why I can't get a good sequel, Chandler.
It's just not going to happen.
Tell me why I can't get a good sequel.
Why can't you choose a good franchise like Scream? Hey, I'll give you this. Scream is more consistent than my favorite franchise, Halloween.
You have consistency up until like 5, and then excluding 2, but up to 5, and then whatever John Carpenter does.
3 being inconsistent.
Yeah, 5, 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like 4, 5, 6, and all. I love literally every single one of them.
Same. I love all of mine for different reasons.
But we can recognize a good, consistent franchise when we see one.
Yes.
In Scream, this whole movie was just every scene just hit a good spot. Every character interaction, every line of dialogue was used brilliantly. Just well written, well directed. And now, is there specific scenes afterwards you want to get into, or you want to go straight into the killers themselves and the motivation and the shrine?
I don't like how she dropped Billy's mask at the end of the movie.
Oh, you're going straight there.
Yeah, because again, that's my only real complaint about it, and it's not more of a complaint that the movie's bad. It's more of my own headcanon. I got more Billy, which I'm very happy about. How I talked about it when we did the full Scream. I wanted more Billy to not play as in like to bring him back just to bring him back, but actually like have that father-daughter kind of relationship with her schizophrenia. But
he's looking old. Skeet Ulrich is looking old.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's more of I want to see it from a schizophrenia perspective.
Oh, he's not a ghost.
No.
That's not what Scream's about. It's the most grounded franchise in horror.
Yeah.
Because even with Halloween, hell, actually a better example was Texas Chainsaw. Because for as down to earth and realistic and gritty as it is, it also is equally stupid and goofy.
Yeah.
This one, even with 3 being definitely more bombastic, it still feels like this could happen. This could happen. People could be inspired by real life. People are inspired by real life serial killers and try to replicate it. But when you have such an iconic look as Ghostface, and people like us who love scary movies so much, I mean, it's kind of surprising that there aren't people running around with Ghostface masks killing people. I'm not saying I wish there was, of course not, but it's just an interesting, like, because in Scream it makes it look like,
Everyone can be a victim.
Everyone can be a victim, and not just that, anyone can be a killer, and they make sense. that people would be so inspired by these. And the more killings that happen, the more people who are inspired. And that's why in this movie, for the first time, we get 3 killers. See, as we're calling a cult of Ghostface. It's really a family of Ghostfaces. We have, instead of the mother this time around, we have, of course, the dad, Detective Bailey, Richie's father, and the brother and the sister. Now, little virgin Ethan, what'd you think about him as a killer?
It was pathetic. Like,
who do you between, because you can tell other movies you can't tell who the killer is. This is the first one I've seen where I'm like, I know exactly who's behind the mask. I think they took into consideration, especially from 5, because Amber is so little, just a scrawny little chick, and she's the one that she just kills Dewey. She's the one to do it. Breaks my heart to think about, but she's the one that does it, and it does not look like her.
No,
she's tall. This is the first one where size in proportion is taken into consideration. Because that first kill with Jason, it's definitely the detective.
Yeah,
he's the strongest one. He's the tallest one, and Ethan. We know who Ethan kills because in every scene he's in, he's fumbling. He's getting his ass kicked. He's the only one that gets pummeled and tossed around. He's a loser.
Yeah,
he's a loser. He's a little scrawny dweeb, just like Richie was.
He got shot by Gale, right?
Yes. Get the shit beat out of him multiple times. Chad does. Gale does. Almost kills Gale, but she doesn't. She pulls through. Personally, think she should have died here. Without Dewey, that chemistry that they had, Gale's character becomes not irrelevant. That's not the word I'd use, but she definitely
annoying.
Yeah, well, she's always annoying, but Dewey balanced it out.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I thought she was gonna die, so like in the split seconds, I was just like preparing myself to say goodbye to this character. Just like I didn't get a chance with Dewey because it came out of left field for me. I was like, no, he always makes it. What are we doing here?
Until he came out of the body bag.
Yeah, instead of a stretcher for once.
Ooh, do you think they're making her look so bad in this one? So when they kill her in 7, it's like, okay, yeah, that feels deserved. That feels right. She comes across as a bitch in this one, and she always did. But the fact that they chose to write it in the script that she has a new boyfriend.
Well, I mean, it's a year. Oh,
it's like,
they have in 5. They've been divorced.
So.
After.
Love of her life. Dewey was, they spent a lot of time apart, but I'd say like they're soulmates. Even when they weren't together, they were always thinking about each other, and they loved each other deeply. So I'm speaking more from an audience perspective to have a beloved character die and another beloved character seemingly move on and not seem to struggle with it. Now, she does cry when he's brought up, and she gets emotional. It's a great performance, but from an audience perspective, it's interesting that they had her act that way and move on so suddenly. Now, in universe, it makes sense, but just for an audience who they're definitely pandering to, it's interesting.
But she's also painted as a strong woman that is so focused on her work that literally everything, is put to the side, even Dewey.
That was always the case.
Yeah.
And she could be using her work as a way to just kind of like how some people resort to alcohol and drugs. It's like how she copes. She just buries herself in work so she doesn't have to think about it. But she always did that before. And here's a theory for you. Gale is orchestrating all the murders from the very start because just like how Roman wants to make a stab movie based off real killings, she wants to write books based off all the killings, and she can't do that. She promised the last movie she wasn't going to write a book on the killings, and she did anyways, because that's her MO. She's always about the story, and what better way to chase a story than to create it yourself? Like David Lee in the last broadcast.
There we go. Wrap it up, boys.
That wasn't
we
planned.
can call it in.
I'm always looking for my moment to pounce.
We can call it in. End of the episode. Good night, everybody.
Mwah. Good night, everybody. Sorry. So, Gail, it's not character assassination. It's perfectly within her character. And yet, at the same time, it also feels like the writer's trying to make her look bad on purpose. Because I don't know. I think her time's coming to a close soon. And it feels right. She served her usefulness and her purpose as a character.
She's been in more movies than Sydney.
Mm-hmm. They do mention Sydney, and I saw, even on my periphery, you had a audible reaction to her name just being mentioned. Like, it pained you to hear, but it was also kind of funny because just the way they word it.
It was the knowledge, like, even just hearing her name upset me, even though it was good news that she wasn't showing up.
That she was essentially riding off into the sunset and getting her happy ending. Bullshit. She'll be back. They're gonna pay her more for 7. I know you're gonna hate it, but she's gotta come back, right? Is that how you end off her character? By having no ending at all? I know you hate her, but like there should still be something more concrete than
She needs
just.
to get killed is what she needs to do. If she
I
dies
agree.
in 7, I'll be happy.
She should have. Personally,
Should have died in 4.
I think, yes, Dewey should have died in 2. I think Dewey should have died in 2 with Randy. And Sydney should have died in 4. And I think Gail should have died in 5. But if she didn't die in 5, then she should have died here.
Ugh.
Enough characters aren't dying. And it sucks to say, because they're characters I like, minus Sydney.
Sydney sucks.
I don't hate her. It's just
I do.
she's not as interesting as, say, Randy or Dewey or hell, Chad and Mindy.
Gail.
Oh yeah.
Literally anybody else is better than Sydney. Put Chuck Norris in instead of Sydney.
So with the ghost faces, where do you think they rank in your echelon, in your hierarchy of ghost faces?
Now?
Yeah.
Boy. No matter how good the twist is, the detective takes the higher spot than the other two.
Of course.
Oh, no, 4th.
Just him.
4th or 5th favorite.
Are the other two worse than Richie and Amber?
No, they're above them.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot. I did think it was cute with Richie's whole movies playing in the background, but then you realize, oh yeah, that guy's a serial killer.
Yeah.
And this is a whole family of serial killers. That's kind of the only unrealistic part about it. But speaking of this family of serial killers, the shrine. Well, technically it's Jason and Greg. Well, no, it's theirs, but they put it in Jason and Greg's name. By the way, I already knew Jason was going to be a killer from the very start, simply for the fact that his name is Jason fucking Carvey.
Yeah.
His last name is Carvey. Come on. The guy was always going to be a killer. Flash Thompson was a straight up murdering psychopath in this movie for one scene. Now, the shrine that they had, not Jason's, which was in his closet, the real altar, the real shrine that they had was really fascinating to look at. And it's one of those where you just want to pause it and examine every frame and every shot. How many did you notice? I want to see what you picked up on.
The boyfriend from the first movie, the hanging, the drawings of the girl that get, what's her name? Drew Barrymore, right?
Yeah, it gets hung and gutted.
Yeah. Charlie's display, Dewey's display, Billy had a display.
Billy's shirt, I know for
Yeah,
a fact, his
yeah.
bloody shirt. I think the blood pattern was a bit off, but Stu's TV.
It's just TV, yeah. It's like, yeah, I love the quote about how it's like, wouldn't this be evidence? And then they're just like, we need it for the story. A real quick answer. We need it for
I
the
always
story.
thought, like, because once I figured out early in the movie that is probably Detective Bailey. It makes sense that a detective or someone in the police force would have access to the evidence locker and could just get that stuff on a whim. At the same time, he's a detective for the NYPD.
Right.
So how the hell did he get evidence from Woodsboro?
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
I asked it, and like before even when we were just theorizing it, I was talking about how like for the display case and everything, a normal police officer wouldn't be able to acquire those things, and I was wrong. Like we guessed who it was, but that plot was not that plot point.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, that was while we were theorizing, but then at the very end, it's revealed it was actually Richie.
Yeah, Richie was collecting
Yeah,
it.
Richie was the collector, and he got all these items. But I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
They don't talk about that.
He says his dad helped him.
How? Doesn't matter because I don't care because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The cameraman, which the camera that he uses in the first movie, not the cameraman from the second one, the first one. That one is used as a weapon against. I'm assuming it was Ethan because he fell over like a twig. The second he got hit, I mean, start kicking his ass to the ground. That was cool.
He's a loser.
Yeah. The motive, avenging Richie, again goes back to the original sequel.
Avenging Billy.
Yeah, this avenging Billy. I thought these were they're the most brutal. Sure. It was pretty. It was vicious, but
Four was more brutal.
it was more gory, as you said, because they're gore hounds. So they were definitely going like the bedroom scene in 4, where there's just blood splatters. It reminds me of the Dumb and Dumber scene with the shit on the walls
Yes.
and the ceiling, but with blood. That's exactly what it's like. So 4, I think, was more brutal, but you see a lot of critics pointing to this one. I think what they're really referring to is just how quick it is, very precise, and just the multiple stabbings. It's not just like one knife in the gut and a twist. This is like full on, just like they're stabbing like over a dozen times. It's brutal, but as far as gory and bloody, for people like us and you guys who are listening, we've seen some bad shit. This is your run-of-the-mill typical Scream movie. The kills in it are like every other movie in this franchise. It's all a knife. There is the convenience store scene with the pump shotgun.
I wish we saw his face get exploded.
But this is Scream we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And so it's never over the top. It's just...
I don't know, when the Asian chick fell from the ladder and smashed your skull on the
Those are good
dumpster.
effects.
That was pretty good.
It was
pretty good.
Yeah. And it showed her face. But what really bothers me about Quinn is that this goes by what we were saying, how it's so formulaic that like we could write the script. The fact that we guessed it on the way to the theater, every detail, down to them avenging Richie, to it being the detective, like everything was perfect. It lined up. More than that, though, is we also know how the red herrings work. We know how if you see someone die off screen, then they didn't die, like Roman did. If you die off screen, then you didn't die. So
Kirby.
when they wrote that scene, then they intended for her to be dead. 100%. Then they realized how much of a fan favorite she was, and they wanted to bolster the roster because apparently, according to this movie, they don't want to kill off characters. Chad is a Chad, a Giga Chad, because he should not be alive. Especially after he should have lived the last movie.
Tara should have lived the last movie.
Who else got seriously maimed and injured? I mean, we know Gail lived. She should probably be dead too. A gut stab?
Yeah, in this one, Tara gets stabbed like in the stomach, and she's fine.
She's walking.
Yeah,
You would not be walking. Like these are.
she would probably bleed out before any of the events happened.
Now, not to foreshadow my own demise, but personally, I've never been stabbed in the gut before. but your guts are important. That's a vital organ. Not just bleeding out, but you kind of need those.
I mean, your stomach acid starts leaking into your internal body.
Yeah, you kind of, what's the
Cavity.
phrase? What's the term? You're fucked. Essentially, the second that happens, you're donezo. Kaput. So, yeah, maybe this one does stretch believability in places, but all in all, damn, a great sequel, a great Scream movie, and just a good movie, period. Go see it.
Oh my god.
Highly
Go
recommend.
see it.
What's
your ranking?
10? Like, okay, how are we ranking this? Like,
No movie could be a 10.
no movie could be a 10, but
I'm
it's
going with the 9.5.
okay. Are we talking horror movies or movies?
Horror movies.
Not the, I don't want to sound I don't want to sound like the guys at the Oscars and keep horror separate from all other movies, but I do rank them different. You said, oh, what for?
I felt like the first time in a long time for actual dread from a movie that, like, I was like, this is really, really good, is the subway scene.
Perfectly done.
Oh my god.
You know how hard it is to pull off just a great suspenseful scene?
Yes. And to do it to that degree. I'm a horror veteran and a big gore hound, but that just, what's the Alfred Hitchcock quote about suspense? There's two types of suspense. Essentially, it's a table, and there's two people sitting at the table. And there's a bomb under the table, and only the audience knows that there's a bomb under the table. And you're watching the timer tick, 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 tick down, knowing that it's going to explode at any minute. But these characters are screaming at the TV for them to move,
Like
do
Randy.
anything. Yeah. And there's a different kind of suspense where suspense for the characters that are aware of the bomb under the table, but the audience doesn't. This is the audience knows the bomb is under the table, and it is so good. Because, I mean, yes, they're aware that there's a killer out there, but they don't know if he's on the exact train. Because it flips back and forth between the main group.
What train is he's going to be on?
Yes.
And it's also on Halloween, so everyone's wearing masks. And because of the new spree of killings happening, there's a resurgence of sales going on with the Ghostface
I
costume.
thought that was so funny.
Because that would happen.
Yes.
100%, that's exactly what would happen.
Yes.
I would say like the guy in Halloween 2 wearing the Michael Myers costume, but it wasn't a Michael Myers costume because it was happening the same night as the first movie, so that'd be impossible.
Right.
No, this is a bunch of people are wearing Ghostface masks in the same vein as the second Scream movie, where they're in the theater.
Right.
But not to the same degree, of course. But the fact that, damn, this train, this subway, God, New York City really needs to invest in some new lighting. Because
Yes.
all the suspense would probably not be as strong if the lights wouldn't flicker.
And just turn off.
Just there's moments of darkness.
On a subway train.
And what's funny is one scene, it makes it look like they're going through a tunnel, and that's why it goes dark. But they're already in a tunnel. They're in the subway system.
Yeah.
Why did the lights go out? The source of light's coming from inside the train. So for all the lights to just constantly flicker, damn, do you think Nosferatu was on that train? It seems so. Flickering them lights. Good scene. Very good. Mindy should have died.
Mm-hmm.
You agree? As much as you love that character, for the plot's sake, it would have been because she's absent after that. She loses plot relevance once she gets stabbed on the train because she doesn't show up until the end of the movie and be perfectly fine.
As I said in the theater, so I'll say it again here. Chad is the new Dewey, and Mindy's the new Randy. And I think why Mindy lived in the second one is because they saw that everybody loved Randy so much that they had to refilm a new clip for Randy so that he could be in Scream 3. And I don't think they're gonna let Mindy go. I mean, I don't know how things review. I don't look at movie reviews like at all. But I really enjoyed Mindy's character. And
She's popular.
okay, she is.
Yeah,
okay.
she's a good character.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think they're gonna just kill her off. I think that she's got plot armor.
Good characters should die. Now I know. Okay, this is weird, but
Oh, who starts a statement like that?
this is gonna be weird. Mostly because you haven't seen it, but in Game of Thrones, I'm gonna tag this under spoilers, of course, because there are people who haven't seen it.
Me,
You exactly.
not a
Do you
damn
play?
episode.
Well, before I say anything, do you care about watching it?
Not really.
Okay.
You know,
You're not
I'm
a fantasy
big
guy.
No.
Look, Game of Thrones isn't big on fantasy either. It's definitely more of a political drama.
Rape.
There's a lot of it. Mostly reserved for the first 2 seasons, but it picks up later.
Jesus.
So the main character, most people would agree, in both the books, or book, I should say, in the first season of the television show is Sean Bean's Ned Stark character. Ned Stark is the main character, and there's a conspiracy going on to the highest levels. And he's trying to figure out this conspiracy, and you're following through his eyes and what's going on. And yeah, you jump around different perspectives, but he's the anchor from which the story is happening around. He dies in episode 9 of season 1. There's 8 seasons, and he is still, to the very last episode of Game of Thrones, I would say he's the main character. Even in death, people can't shut up about him. He is mentioned probably like 2 or 3 times every episode after he dies. He continues to be a presence in the show and a motivating factor for characters even after he's gone. That's kind of Randy.
That is Randy.
Yeah, you can't shut up about him. He's mentioned in every movie.
They ripped off Scream.
Game of Thrones?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a take. Go on the Reddit and
He's
say
not
that.
even gonna finish the books.
You know that, right? He's not going to finish the books.
No.
You're more likely to get another book from Tolkien.
I have, actually. More bulk. I've actually, funny you say that. Tolkien had a book released like this year. Excuse me, last year. The fucker's been dead since 1973. His son is dead.
It's a good year for music.
Oh, because of Dark Side and Kiss. A lot happened in 73. And then 1 year later, really kicking it up a notch with Texas Chainsaw. Damn, the 70s were great.
I wish I was there.
We are. In our heads. In our hearts.
I got sideburns like I'm there.
Yeah, you're rocking them. Those limmy chops, as we like to call them. You look like a 19th century constable.
Where's my baton?
Where's your handlebar mustache?
I'm working on it.
There you go. Those police definitely did not have guns. Hell, they still don't have guns.
Okay.
My ranking on Scream, I'm just going to combine both categories. Instead of saying horror movies and movies, to me, horror movies are some of the best movies of all time. So, 9.
I'm going to go with 9.5 because I can't give it a 10.
Just because it's not perfect. I'm giving it a 9 because...
because no movie is perfect. I will describe this as
Jaws.
the perfect... Okay.
Jurassic Park.
Clockwork Orange.
Yes. Are there like production flukes? Is there like how in Jaws, like the color of the towel changes between shots, or there's a guy in the background taking a photo? Hell, and Jason Takes Manhattan, which is a perfect movie in every single way. The one shot they film in Times Square, in the background, you see all the people lined up in a perfect row behind the rope. They're all there to watch the movie being filmed. But that's supposed to be like, oh, these are bystanders. These are just residents of New York City. But they're all perfectly standing in the background watching the movie being made. And it's on film. It's just funny. It's just funny. Like, yeah, making a movie, there's going to be mistakes. But when it comes to writing, some movies I think have perfect writing, and that's why I give this movie a 9 because I don't think the writing is there. It's a 9. It's not a 9.5 for me. It's a 9 simply because certain characters should have died. Certain things don't make sense. But all in all, I was grinning ear to ear this entire movie.
It was fun.
More than any other Scream movie, I want to rewatch this.
Yeah.
Like soon. I have an urge to watch it again. But thankfully, we have another movie coming out. Now, you disagree. You think the ending of this movie was a perfect place to just stop the franchise.
Yeah.
But you can't keep a good thing down. And
if she didn't let go of the mask, I think there should have been a sequel.
But because she puts it down, it's symbolic and representative of the fact that she's putting this behind her and moving on, like we should as an audience from this franchise. But that's not going to happen because, to quote Chucky, a true classic never goes out of style. And we are getting a 7 now. My theory on 7, as someone who wants to dabble in screenwriting and wants to study film, as you do.
Girls read it.
Yes. As a horror buff, fuck, are we Randy?
Can I be Charlie?
You gonna kill somebody if they reject you?
No.
Okay.
I just want to be your anonymous.
I don't know if that's anything to aspire to be.
God,
musically.
I wish that was me.
Musically. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Not in lifestyle choices, but musically. My theory on 7 is, I think Sam, because she went ham in this movie. She just donned the suit and everything, and used her father's knife to kill the detective. Like, and Ethan getting killed by the TV that killed Stu Macher. Just, it's funny. It's fan service. It's great. But her really channeling that energy and the no, I'm gonna have to kill to protect the things I love. She's starting to snap, and they're really toying with the psychology of her. So if this movie started, part 6, started with the perspective of a Ghostface killer just living his ordinary life, I really do think 7 is going to be from the perspective of a Ghostface. Except I think it's going to be Sam, but instead of her killing innocent people like at random because she snapped, I think she's going to be targeting people she think could be the next Ghostface. Hell, it could be someone at a party that's bullying her sister, or someone who just is just pissing her off and spreading rumors and lies about her. I could see her taking them out. People who are doing her harm and her family harm and her friends harm, I can see her donning the costume, picking up a knife, and carrying on her father's legacy, but in a different way. Hell, to differentiate herself from other serial killers, she could don a red mask, maybe even a red cloak, to stand apart, almost like a vigilante taking out other ghost faces. Almost, taking preventive measures, being very proactive and trying to stamp them out before they have any chance to start their killing, which would be very interesting because she's still a bad person. She's a villain committing horrible acts, but she's doing it for a very different, understandable, and sympathetic reason.
I think it's an awesome idea, but it doesn't follow Scream formula.
Exactly. We're 7 movies deep.
We're talking red shirt Shaggy kind of stuff. We're talking sequels that have nothing to do with.
Which is what I was saying in the car. That's why. Okay, for the audience.
That's why I'm circling it back.
For the audience, be like, what the hell is he talking about? Red shirt Shaggy. So on the car ride back from the theater, like that does deserve context. That needs explaining. Because you can't just throw out red shirt Shaggy. The audience be, oh yeah, okay. In a theory podcast about 7, bringing up red shirt Shaggy. So the reason
Stu's back. You heard it here first.
Hey, technically on the board with all the ghost faces lined up, the timeline, Stu has question marks next to him because they toyed with that a few times that Stu might still be alive, which I don't think he is. I know I said it last episode. That was all bullshit. I just thought it was funny to say. A man can hope. A man can pray.
A man can dream.
Yes. But dreams sometimes remain dreams.
You just gotta dream on.
There's a lot of references. It's like back to back. And speaking of references, Red Shirt Shaggy, right? So he brought him up because I was talking about, well, what do you have requels, which is a sequel to just the first movie, but scrapping everything that came after it. Because it wasn't as good as the first. So let's make a sequel to the thing people actually enjoy. But what do you call something that has nothing to do with the original, has nothing to do with the sequels? It stands on its own as its own original thing. And I was trying to think of an example. And Slug here had something on the tip of his tongue for like 5 minutes, was banging his head against the car window because he just couldn't think of it. And finally, I don't know what caused him to remember. Just all of a sudden, a light bulb went off and exploded all over the car, and in a thunderous voice exclaimed, "Red Shirt Shaggy! Red Shirt Shaggy!" Because Red Shirt Shaggy is from his time period with like Ghoul School and all that. Fred, Daphne, Velma, they're not there. They're not hinted at, they're not referenced. It's like its own separate continuity that exists outside of the original show. And like supernatural stuff is real. Like Shaggy turns into a fucking werewolf, dude. It's crazy. So that's what I'm saying is
literal Ghoul School.
Yeah.
Full werewolves, vampires. And...
yeah. Monsters are real. It's almost like it exists in its own separate continuity, but it's Shaggy, it's Scooby. But to differentiate it, to make it different, he's wearing, get this, a red shirt. So you don't get confused with the other Shaggy. And that wasn't what I was going with what if Sam was wearing a red Ghostface costume. It didn't even like click. But not just that. What if she's like a vigilante going trying to snuff out other ghost faces? But what if there's a second ghost face who's like really killing people, and that's who she's after, and she kills other people looking for him who might know him, or her. Honestly, there's a lot of female ghost faces in this franchise. It's like a Captain America Civil War situation. We have two ghost faces on opposing ends. One is trying to be good and failing, but really trying to protect people. And the other one's just a straight up serial killer.
One's a soy government boy, and the other one is a Chad American.
And so I state unto thee, what in the fuck are you talking about?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
You don't just make a statement like that and expect me to just pick up from there.
This is me.
Uh-huh.
I'm walking away from that statement. We're going to move on.
And this is me turning in the complete opposite direction and walking backwards. Wrapping up Scream 6. Delectable. What a treat.
Beautiful.
As Chad said to Ethan earlier in the movie, it's a snack.
Honestly, it's the boys meme of Homelander going, beautiful. Perfection. I couldn't have asked for a better Scream movie. I couldn't ask for a better horror sequel. I couldn't even ask for a better horror movie. Honestly, in terms of what we're getting at, slashers, self-awareness, and the beauty of that is all there. It's beautiful.
We spent an hour to just say a very simple thing. It's good. Hell, it's great. Instead of gushing about it, be like, it's so fucking good. We could have just said that and moved on and told everybody, you got to see this movie. We can't recommend it highly enough. Yada yada yada. Sing its praises to the high heavens.
Go see it.
Yeah, go see it. It's good. You're gonna have a good time. We could have done that.
It's the Men's Warehouse. You're gonna love it.
I haven't finished my 3-day-old beer yet. I'm getting to the very bottom, and you have me spitting it back up. Is that all we are? We're like Scream. We are Scream. Nothing but meta commentary and references. God damn. This is all we've become. And I think a big reason why we love horror is because of creepypastas.
Don't worry, we're not going to start reading any.
No.
We just want to...
No, that's horror.
Yeah, that's just true horror. Honestly, I think fiction in films and fiction in internet terms and it's drastically different. The writing style is drastically different.
One's written by professionals who have a degree in screenwriting, and the other's written by some 12-year-old with mommy's tablet.
Not all of them. Like when we
No.
talk about
Definitely downplaying it a bit.
Vincent Villacava. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you for your claws. Vincent is one of the best writers, and we don't want to talk about drama here. He was caught up in something, but in terms of his art,
Most people on the internet are caught up in something.
Right? So his writing is just incredible, and I don't understand why any of them aren't picked up for a movie. Like Black Bugs, it's a perfect movie. Like not if we don't even want to talk about that one in particular. The one that literally became a book, Pen Pals.
It's phenomenal.
It would be a perfect what are they called? Like shows like
like an anthology series.
Yeah, anthology TV show. That'd be
Well, like Channel Zero, which should have been.
Don't make an entire season one creepypasta.
Because people are going to expect the others to be creepypastas. I think that's what everyone expected it to be. We touched upon this last episode. But there's so many like Pen Pals. By the way, Pen Pals, I have a weird relationship with that one. Because the first time I heard it was through Mr. Creepypasta. But like, you know how if you hear a certain song, it takes you back to the moment you heard it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bands and songs I've heard where it brings me back to the exact time in which I heard it. And Pen Pals, for me, when I think about it, I think about Forza Horizon 4.
That's beautiful.
Because I wouldn't do any of the quests. I wouldn't do any of the missions in Forza Horizon 4. I would just drive around. And instead of listening to the god-awful British radio that they had, I'd put on creepypastas and music and listen to that while I just drive around in the game world. And the first time I ever heard Pen Pals was playing Forza Horizon 4. So I can't separate those two things. They're inseparable in my mind. And I love it even more for that.
I would do the same thing in Grand Theft Auto Story Mode after I finished it. I would put on stories and just be a taxi driver because I bought the taxi company with Franklin. And for some reason, I just found so much enjoyment in scaring the hell out of my taxi goers and going off the cliff, like just nose diving off a cliff and making it in perfect time. Like theoretically, the estimation time would probably be like 40 minutes. I got his ass there in 15. Something about that is just so nostalgic listening to these old creepypastas because it puts me there. It puts you in Forza Horizon.
Yeah, it's silly, but at the same time, it's relatable. I think everyone has experiences, whether it be movies or songs or just media in general. It's like, or even comic books, just hiding under the bed sheets with a flashlight. It's like for a lot of kids growing up, that's how they read comic books. And so it brings them back to that time. Such a different time.
Playing Game Boy a night shift at work, walking up to the street lamp, just holding my Game Boy under it. Ooh. It's not quite under my covers with a flashlight, but
it's the same vibe.
Yeah, it's just trying to get some kind of light to touch the screen.
Why doesn't it have in-screen lights?
The original Game Boy Advance.
This is a shitty piece of hardware.
No. Slow down.
All Nintendo products after the GameCube are shite. What do you think?
Game Boy Advance came out before GameCube.
I mean, like home consoles. As far as their portable consoles, like DS. What do you think DS stands for? It stands for dog shit.
Chandler. The Wii wasn't that bad, Chandler.
If it wasn't motion controls. I don't want to exercise while I play video games. That's why I'm playing video games. Otherwise, I'd go outside and kick a fucking ball. Am I wrong?
Not out of line. Please. I'm sorry. I just like the weed man. I thought it was neat. I just think it was neat.
Okay, Marge.
I'm sorry. The Super Mario Galaxy, man.
Oh yeah,
Think
we
about
wrecked
that.
on the way on the way back because it was such a long, pitiful drive back from Savannah. And we did a tier list just to piss off everyone in the Discord chat. We did Mario, we did Legend of Zelda, just to piss off one of our friends, your cousin. God, his favorite series is Zelda.
And the
of course.
best thing he said is, you should make a tier list for the games you didn't play. And I'm just, I don't get it.
What did I say to him? Oh.
Oh my God, yes. Please repeat that.
I said to James, do you have a concealed carry permit for the stick shoved up your ass?
Oh my God, you're back and forth. And I was casualty. What's the word? I was a citizen casualty just for no reason. He brought me into this.
Yeah, and I tried bringing them out, but then they just
doubled down.
They doubled down. This is a battle that is not being won. Just like the Confederates at Fort Pulaski. They saw a losing battle and they surrendered.
We could have held it longer than 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. Shit. We could have held Fort Pulaski with a slingshot and a few firecrackers. Lord.
But internet horror has been a big part of my childhood.
Is this one or mine?
It can be.
It is.
All right.
Continue. Internet horror is such a big part of your life.
It has been a big part of my life since, as far as I can remember, accessing the internet. Horror, as we know, I started my love of horror started with, I said 2, but it's actually 3 movies: Frankenstein, Silence of the Lambs, and I think my first sci-fi horror film, the original Blob, with Steve McQueen, which I still have on the shelf over there.
What great inspirations.
Yeah,
That's lovely.
And those were my introductions to cinema horror. But shout out to Mr. Creepypasta and all the other creepypasta readers, what do they call them? Narrators. That's what it is. Yeah. Narrators. Because your boy's lazy. Your boy can read okay in his head.
Out loud, maybe not so much.
Not so much. It takes me a while with books. I'm almost done with my Lemmy book, but I love just listening to him. I remember just binge listening to him over and over and over again. Even like not even like 3 years ago or 2 years now, when I still worked at Kroger night shift. I would just have him almost on repeat. I would listen to literally all of his volumes all the way up until maybe 2017 content, just from beginning to then, just on repeat. So I can almost verbatim, just back in like middle school or like high school, I could just recite to you creepypastas. And I
on a whim.
Yeah.
We'll be at the lunch table. We're talking about literally anything else. And you just start whispering sweet nothings in my ear, talking about the latest creepypasta you listen to. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to no. Definitely killed some time, but your love of creepypastas is like most people and most fads in our childhood. It's up and down. It's up and down. When would you say was strongest, your love of creepypastas?
Middle school.
Middle school?
I was a stupid kid. I thought Jeff was real and he was going to kill me. I was terrified of him. That's why my parents don't like the sinister pasta. But I listened to a lot of creepypastas in middle school, majorly. That's when I listened to The Showers for the first time.
Go on.
That's when I listened to, actually, beginning. I don't remember when it was released, but I remember my sophomore, junior year. It's like somewhere in between there, hearing Baraska for the first time. This is a really
Which
good
one?
one. Baraska.
What's that one about?
It's about this town that has like a secret abandoned factory in the outskirts of the town, and it's government corruption, and it inevitably leads to the sheriff's kid finding out that the sheriff is in on a sex ring and everything.
Oh, real shit.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, and it's like the story writing is like kind of like they build you in like from when they were kids. So you follow these kids all the way up until they get to high school and everything, and then they become adults.
It's style.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Or Stand By Me style.
And like slowly more as they get older, kids disappear and they have no clue why. Adults or kids, teens and preteens start disappearing, and they inevitably find out that it's a sex ring when the protagonist's friend is taken.
It's beautiful. It's amazing how well you can tell a story when you're not reading it.
Oh yeah, that's how I think I'm a pretty good singer when I'm not looking at the lyrics. I just have to memorize them.
The crazy thing is, you have a near encyclopedic knowledge on creepypastas that makes me look stupid. It makes me look like I have never read a single damn creepypasta in my life because of how, not just how well you could tell the story, but how many you know. You know some obscure stuff. I don't think a lot, not just from Mr. Creepypasta. There's just like, you tell stories. I'm like, where the hell did you even hear that? Where'd you even get that from? Just like the most obscure shit I've ever seen in my life.
Shout out to Mr. Nightmare.
Thank you. He needs it.
He does.
I mean, yeah.
King Spooky too.
Especially King Spooky.
Yeah.
Really needs, like, it's not like they're unknown.
No.
But they need some more love.
Mr. Nightmare has some real good ones.
Mm-hmm.
When he started his channel, that's what kept me around. We're not going to talk about drama, but until things seem more concrete, I used to listen to a lot of creepypasta. That's who I first heard read 1999. And I only preface this because it's like there's allegations and stuff, and I'm not listening to them, but I did. So
I'm not condoning what he did, if he did it,
did or did not do.
Yeah,
it's complicated because it's too. We're not going to talk about it.
It's too early to tell. All you're saying is you listen to the guy.
I've listened to both sides, and it seems complicated. That's all I'm going to say on the topic. But I used to listen to him when I was little, before any of that stuff. And 1999 really shaped a lot of what I expect from internet horror. There's different categories. You got your troll pastas, you got your video game pastas, you got your angsty teen pastas. You got so many different types of pastas, and after listening to 1999, I kind of figured that there's more than just that. The creepypastas don't have to follow a particular formula. There can just be a god tier writing of a story like The Showers, and it still be a creepypasta, but it's more than that. It's like actual literature. It doesn't have to be just folk tales or it's funny. Haha, look, the kid got his face bleached and now he's cutting everybody up, telling them go to sleep.
Who was Phone?
That's a beautiful
I still
one.
don't know. To this day, who was he? We still don't know who Phone was.
I really hope it's Matt Pat in the movie.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Was that me or you that said that? Who said that?
You said you wanted Matt Pat, and I added because his voice is annoying.
Yeah, so he'd be perfect for Phone Guy.
Yes.
Matt Pat should be Phone Guy. I hope Blumhouse, Jason Blum, if you're listening,
Please, for the love of God, if you are listening.
I mean, they definitely got Markiplier. Markiplier is definitely in the movie.
Who's he playing?
He's phone guy.
No.
Matt Pett should play phone guy. I don't know. I don't know who Mark would play. Maybe he's the guy that Michael Afton beats the shit out of in The Fountain. Oh, you haven't seen any pictures?
I haven't seen the footage, no.
Oh, yeah, Michael Afton beats the absolute shit out of somebody. That's great.
What was the partner?
Henry?
You could play Henry.
There's already a Henry.
Who's playing Henry?
We don't know. It's not confirmed yet.
Okay.
All right. Yeah,
So-
let's off of Five Nights at Freddy's for one goddamn episode. Can we not talk about Five Nights at Freddy's? Among Us? Schmungus?
You can't escape it, Chandler.
Like the category on
It's-
Netflix?
It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Chandler.
Someone's got to be blamed. Just like Christ took the sins of humanity, someone has to take the blame for the Schmungus category on Netflix. And that person should be stoned to death.
It's a real true sci-fi horror there. Among Us.
It's just John Carpenter's the thing. But creepypastas.
I mean, they had a map, but it's literally
It's
So the literature, I think, should be viewed just as if it was, I mean, for some stories not the same level, but like Dracula or a Stephen King book or anything like that. I think like if it's a solid story, whether or not it gets a paperback or a hardcover or anything like that, even if it's literally posted on the creepypasta.com or wiki or whatever it is, it should be considered literature because it's art.
You want it? It's not. The reason why it's not, I think, is oversaturation and how easy it is for anyone to do it. And the easier and more available something is, the less respect it's going to have. We look at artists like Mary Shelley and her work on Frankenstein, and the reason why we respect it as a piece of art and a piece of literature, especially from a modern point of view, is she's a woman in a time when women didn't write. And so we respect it because it's rare and it's valuable to us now because of that fact. Not just is it a great piece of literature, it's the fact that she wrote it that gives it more value, being a woman in that time writing.
Frankenstein kicks ass.
Both the movie and the book.
Yes.
Honestly, the book more so. The book,
Cut out so much.
they really didn't follow it at all.
No.
It's
The
a
bride
shame.
was supposed to be in the first movie because it's the first book.
But that means we got more movies. It goes to Frankenstein, underrated. Which is weird because that's where we get Igor from.
Not the first one.
People think of Fritz.
As Igor, but they're wrong. They're wrong.
They're wrong. Bela Lugosi played Igor.
Do
and
better.
No one talks about that. Like, actually, all the stuff that we think of as Frankenstein, like the hands in front of him when he's walking and Igor,
Bela Lugosi.
that's all later movies. In fact, the reason why Frankenstein walks with his arms outstretched in front of him is because of the Wolfman. It's because of Frankenstein versus the Wolfman. Because he was frozen in ice and he was blind. And so in that movie, he walks around with his arms outstretched because he was blinded in the last movie. So, whatever. All that to say, the original story has meaning and value because of its rarity. And something is cheapened, the more exposure it has, it's cheapened, the more quantity it has. But also, most creepypastas don't have quality. There's a lot of it, but not a lot of it's good. And it's a shame because it makes the rest of creepypastas look bad. So all I'm saying is overexposure and a lack of consistent quality. And the only reason there's a lack of quality is because how easy it is for anyone to just pick up a phone, pick up a tablet, type on a computer, and put out any story they want. And a lot of it's children. But we get great stories like 1999, Pen Pals, like you were saying. Hell, Smile Dog. Again, I think it's a great story, ripe for at least a mini series or a short film or something. And that's what YouTube's for. YouTube's great for creators to go out there and make whatever they want because big studios refuse to do it. Hollywood refuses to touch it because they see it as beneath them. Why do you think that is?
Because they see it coming from the internet and they don't think it's an original idea or anything special.
Do you think it's like Congress not understanding how Twitter works? Or how the internet works in general?
Yes. Yes.
I guess. It's just, it sucks.
Are the backrooms considered like a piece like SCP?
Thank you, because that was actually my next point. I shit you not, my next sentence was going to be about the SCP Foundation and how some Russian guy was able to just get copyrights on it.
How did that happen?
It's because it's public domain. Anyone could just come in. First of all, I don't even really know how the hell he did it because it's SCP's.
I've bought an SCP.
I think he bought the rights to the website, not the idea of SCP. So anyone can still contribute and make SCPs. I could be getting this wrong, but the idea essentially is that somebody can just hop in there and commandeer or monopolize someone else's property for themselves because it's free game. It's free real estate. And so anyone can just come in there and snatch it up. And that's the problem with a lot of creepypastas too, is that anyone can, because there's no copyrights. It's something that was freely put out there on the internet, on r/nosleep, or just on any forum. Hell, Ted DeCaver, one of the, if not the first creepypasta. Who has a copyright on that? The original artist? No, it was put there on the internet. And anything that's put on the internet is free game. It's communism out there. It's the Wild West out there. Nice. It's a free-for-all. I know that's the world you want to live in, just like Steve Earle. But it ain't going to happen, kiddo. Not the American government has a thing to say about it.
Oh, yeah, the American government. We're good. I think.
I need water.
Yeah, you need water? Yeah. I'm really thinking Smile Dog, some Mr. Widemouth, some little ones, you know what I'm saying? Like Seed Eater, the Pocket, we can even talk about. It's originally an SCP, but people don't even know it as the creepypasta because the SCP came first.
It's just a furry suit. That's all it is. It's just a furry suit.
You want to talk about your furry Confederates? Or you want to save that for
furry Confederates?
Bullshit another day. We can keep it for bullshit another day.
That's something so sweet. I want to bottle it up and save it for later.
Okay, furry Confederates. That was so good. That was so funny.
In public at a national park, talking about Confederate furries, and that's the real reason that the North invaded the South. We're gonna save it. We're gonna save it.
Oh my God.
Well, with a comment like that, I gotta be real with you. It is 4:59, so it's practically 5 in the morning. Want to wrap it up here?
I am good here. Next week is a surprise. We will be talking about a series that I think needs to be shown more respect. And we almost put them on the slashers tier list. And if you can guess, or even if you keep up, you know what's coming up soon. So that's your only hint. This has been Movies, Monsters, and Music. You are in the Sin Den. You're always welcome. And this is Slug signing off.
Hey, Slug, you want to play 5-finger fillet with a screwdriver?
Sure.